and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi Achin. सबसे पहले तो राजा मुनीब साहब को नमस्कार करते हैं and thank you so much sir for coming back. आपके साथ बात करके हमेशा अच्छा लगता है and it's last time when we spoke हमारा बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सा कॉन्वर्सेशन था and वो इंटरेस्टिंग कॉन्वर्सेशन अब देखो आई थिंक आपने और हमने कुछ हिंट दिया था कि भाई विल अफगानिस्तान फिनिश पाकिस्तान करके हमने एक सवाल पूछा था।
बिल्कुल।
नाउ मेरे को आपसे एक चीज पूछनी है सबसे पहले टू ओपन द डिस्कशन। हमने दो चीजें देखी हैं पिछले हफ्ते के अंदर, टीटीपी को हिट मारते हुए देखा है एंड बीएलए को हिट मारते हुए देखा है। 2 पॉइंट्स। 1, ये क्या कोऑर्डिनेटेड अटैक्स हैं? 2, हमारे दिमाग में टीटीपी बीएलए चीएलए ये वो सब कुछ है, क्या अफगान इनको टीटीपी बीएलए की तरह देखते हैं कि ये दे लुक एट देम एज अ सिंगल फोर्स? तो जरा ये बताइए।
सो दो चीजें हैं आदि इसमें। द फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट जो हम बीएलए और टीटीपी की बात करते हैं दे आर अ कोऑर्डिनेटेड फोर्स फॉर श्योर। आप देखेंगे कि जब से टीटीपी ने बीएलए को सपोर्ट दिया है, सिंस दैट डे बीएलए का जो देयर कैरिंग आउट ऑपरेशंस अगेंस्ट पाकिस्तानी आर्मी हैज इंक्रीज्ड। उन्होंने कैजुअलिटी फिगर्स जो पाकिस्तानी आर्मी के है वो इंटेंसिटी भी बढ़ गई है, कैजुअलिटी फिगर्स भी बढ़ गए हैं। उसके पीछे रीजन ये है जो टैक्टिकल सपोर्ट टीटीपी का है, जो वेपन्स टीटीपी बीएलए को सपोर्ट कर पा रही थी। क्योंकि बीएलए के अगर आप बलूचिस्तान को देखोगे, बलूचिस्तान की पॉपुलेशन देखोगे, राइट, इट्स वेरी लेस। द एरिया बहुत बड़ा है, पॉपुलेशन बहुत कम है। सो उनका एक वो इफेक्टिव जो था, वो इफेक्ट जो था वो कहीं पे नहीं था। बट जब से वो टीटीपी के साथ मिले हैं, सो इट हैज बिकम अ फोर्स मल्टीप्लायर फॉर नाउ। ये मिलकर सिनर्जी में कोऑर्डिनेटेड अटैक्स करते हैं। दे हैव एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग विद ईच अदर। दे आर वेरी क्लियर कि इनके ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या, और इनका ऑब्जेक्टिव एक ही है। दे हैव अ कॉमन एनिमी एंड दैट एनिमी इज द स्टेट ऑफ पाकिस्तान। सो दे आर फाइटिंग द कॉमन एनिमी, ये कॉमन एनिमी से लड़ रहे हैं। एंड बीएलए और टीटीपी जो है वो आज की डेट में दे आर लाइक सिंगुलर फाइटिंग फोर्स टू सम एक्सटेंट। BLA you can say is an extended arm of Taliban's larger battle against Pakistan and larger deterrence against Pakistan. तो BLA भी उसमें जो है वो एक पार्ट है, एक बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है। Now TTP और तालिबान जो है, I believe they are conjoined twins. They are not something जो cousins or they are not different entities. Because Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan was very, very crucial in providing during the war in US, in providing shelter, in providing logistics to the Taliban leaders themselves, right? KPK region में especially the moment जो वहां से होती थी, obviously Pakistani army and Pakistani ISI that time was in, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे पाकिस्तान का ऑब्जेक्टिव था कि तालिबान को रेस करे और अफगानिस्तान में उसको एक फाइटिंग फोर्स, एक पोटेंट फाइटिंग फोर्स बनाए और इवेंचुअली तालिबान टेक ओवर करे अफगानिस्तान का। बट टीटीपी जो है वो हमेशा से तालिबान का एक पार्ट रहा है, एक एक्सटेंडेड पार्ट रहा है, एंड इट्स देयर टू कम। आई डोंट थिंक दैट एट एनी कॉस्ट तालिबान विल एवर गिव अप टीटीपी, क्योंकि इफ यू लुक एट द वे अफगान्स ऑपरेट, इफ यू लुक एट द ट्राइब, द वे ट्राइब्स ऑपरेट, इफ यू लुक एट द वे देयर कल्चर इज, राइट, तो उसमें तो ये भी है ना कि अगर आप एक बाहर के हैं और आप किसी जिगरा में चले जाते हैं और आप जिगरा में बोलते हैं कि किसी भी जिगरा में आप बोलते हैं कि मुझे पनाह चाहिए, और दे गिव यू शेल्टर, और अगर आपका दुश्मन आपको मारने आता है तो पूरी फैमिली अपने आप को पहले सामने रखती है, लड़ती है। फर्स्ट दे विल डाई, देन यू विल डाई। तो उनका वो जो एक इंट्रिंसिक कल्चर है और कल्चर ऑफ ब्रदरहुड जिसको वो बोलते हैं, वो टीटीपी और तालिबान का जो है वो बिल्कुल क्लियर है। इट इज वेरी वेरी close to each, they're close to each other, and it is very very ingrained with each other. So TTP, Taliban के लिए TTP is just an extended arm, BLA is an extended arm. अच्छा, वो भी आप छोड़ें, even people sitting in Pakistan are an extended arm and an ally. Now let's take example of organizations like Jaish-e-Mohammed, right? अगर आपको याद होगा जिस दिन तालिबान ने टेक ओवर किया था, उसके 2 महीने बाद Masood Azhar went to Afghanistan and shifted his camps from Pakistan to Afghanistan. JEM is ideologically very very close. Both are Deobandi extremist organizations. So these organizations within Pakistan are also an extended ally of Taliban. So जब तालिबान इस चीज को व्यू करता है तो वो अपने एसेट्स देखता है, वो ये नहीं देखता कि बीएलए जो है वो अलग है या टीटीपी जो है वो अलग है, या जेईएम के जो, और जेईएम के काफी लीडर्स ऐसे थे, काफी लड़के ऐसे थे जिन्होंने JEM छोड़ा और वो TTP में गए और उन्होंने TTP में they fought against the Pakistanis and then they died. Some of them died also at the hand of Pakistani forces, right? So Jaish-e-Mohammed is also a part and parcel somewhere in the larger game of Taliban. So that is where the problem with Pakistan is. क्योंकि पाकिस्तान ने जिन जहादी organizations को, I was going through the list, अभी इनकी पाकिस्तान ने एक latest list निकाली है, banned organizations, proscribed organizations, about 44-45 organizations are there. तो उसमें मैं देख रहा था कि who all are there. उसमें कई तो ऐसी organizations है जैसे सिपाही सहाबा पाकिस्तान है, right? That organization has merged with some other group. अच्छा, वो अब अटैक करते भी हैं तो वो उसका वो लेते नहीं है, वो क्लेम नहीं लेते, वो किसी और ग्रुप पे डाल देते. सो दे वर्क एज घोस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आल्सो. सो जो इंटरनल चर्निंग ऑफ जिहादी ग्रुप्स इन पाकिस्तान जो हो रही है ना, दैट इज व्हाट तालिबान एक्चुअली लुक्स एट. दैट इज व्हाट तालिबान स्ट्रेंथ इन पाकिस्तान इज.
बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है क्योंकि
दैट इज द स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ ऑफ तालिबान इन पाकिस्तान.
मैं आपको एक चीज बताता हूँ, and this is something that I recently came to know, which shocked me. तालिबान की जो इंटेलिजेंस विंग है, ठीक है, GDI बोलते हैं उसको ये लोग, मेरे को फुल फॉर्म नहीं पता उसका, they call it the GDI. उसका डेप्यूटी चीफ इज अ बलोच. The second in command of the Taliban army is a Tajik.
Yes.
ठीक है, तजीक को थोड़ा साइड में रखते हैं. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द बलोच फैक्टर. तो इन्होंने क्या ये बलोच वालों को इकट्ठा रखने के लिए इसको रखा है वहां पर? इट्स अ वेरी
तो वो चीज है. I will add one more thing to it. If you remember when the first Taliban takeover happened and they started giving ministries, if you remember who was the defense minister of Taliban? He was a Shia leader. Maulana Rahim Barkasi. That man has a suicide force of about 30,000 fighters.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Even
over
now?
the years, he has raised a force of 30,000 suicide fighters, suicide bombers. Abhi, he is still capable. He has parted ways with Taliban on some issues, but he's still very potent. So not only Balochistan, but also the Shias were in, they had given a leadership role to a Shia leader. This is how Taliban plans according to its own things. So Tajiks ko rakho aap side pe, Shia, Iranians ko side pe rakho. Let's talk about Balochistan. They know that Baloch by nature are against the Pakistanis. The Pakistanis have tried their best over the years to kill them, to maim them, to torture them, to buy them off. But the resilience in Baloch is undisputable. But Balochon की problem यही थी कि एक Balochi number is very less, the insurgency number is extremely less. So उनका जो वो counter effect था वो उतना बड़ा नहीं था. बहुत कम था. Effect नहीं आता था. But Taliban की support से they have become a more for Taliban has become a force multiplier for them.
उनका तो open treaty हुआ है TTP के साथ.
उनके साथ TTP का open treaty है and they are very very clear. The Balochis are very clear with Quetta. Though it comes under Quetta, they know it's a part of KPK. They will not touch it. They have a very clear deal on this.
अच्छा.
कभी आप BLA को कभी नहीं देखोगे कि BLA claims anything in Quetta.
अच्छा, तो क्वेटा ऊपर जाएगा.
क्वेटा ऊपर जाएगा.
मेरे को अपना मैप चेंज करना पड़ेगा सर.
आपको चेंज करना पड़ेगा. यस.
क्योंकि मैंने अभी वो सियाकिस्तान डाला है उसके अंदर. अभी तो मेरे को ये भी करना पड़ेगा. अच्छा, ओके, गुड पॉइंट.
सो क्वेटा पे उनकी डील बड़ी क्लियर है. दे आर वेरी वेरी क्लियर ऑन क्वेटा. एंड क्वेटा इज एनीवे द हब ऑफ TTP. मतलब it has been the hub of TTP. It has been the hub of all these organizations. So
that's very
क्वेटा पे दे आर. Yes.
तो ये मतलब मिली भगत टाइप बैठे हैं लोग. ठीक है, फैंटास्टिक.
Absolutely.
नाउ एज फार एज टैक्टिकल कोऑर्डिनेशन, पिछले 3 बारी में आप देखिए, जब भी TTP ने अटैक करा है मोटा, BLA ने अटैक करा है मोटा. TTP ने अटैक करा, BLA ने अटैक करा. TTP BLA, एंड दिस टाइम आल्सो यू सी TTP. एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट मैंने एक शो करा था, उसके अंदर मैंने बोला, I looked at this and I also looked at some chatter that I could see online. A funny thing is all these guys are on Twitter, huh? सारे. फ्रॉम
all are on
टीटीपी टू
Twitter.
बीएलए, इनके फाइटर्स, इनके ये वो सारे ट्विटर पे हैं. तो आई वाज वाचिंग सम
इसमें
स्टफ
एक
एंड
और
आई कुड सी
ऑर्गेनाइजेशन,
सम murmur, ठोकेंगे
there is
करके
another
वो.
there is another organization called Jamaat Arhar,
अच्छा.
which basically provides the suicide bombers to the Baloch. So बलोचिस्तान में जो भी अटैक होते हैं वो बेसिकली फाइटर्स उनके बलोच जो हैं वो उसको क्लेम करते हैं. इस साइड पे गुल हाफिज बहादुर करता है. परसों का भी जो अटैक हुआ है वो गुल हाफिज बहादुर ग्रुप ने किया है. सो सुसाइड बॉम्बर्स का इनका अलग यूनिट है, अलग लीडर्स हैं, दे टोटली अलग है. So every terror operational division, they have separate groups for it and they are all operating differently.
Wow.
So इतना ज्यादा जो है इस वक्त जो है तभी पाकिस्तान की जो, अब आप देखो ना, पाकिस्तान की सबसे बड़ी गलती मैं आपको बताता हूँ. पाकिस्तान की सबसे बड़ी गलती ये है जो उन्होंने अफगान्स को निकाल दिया, रेफ्यूजीज को. I think that is a blunder they did. But then Pakistanis are known for, carrying out blunders. Because taking those men out, अच्छा अब आपने उनको निकाल भी दिया, आपने उनकी प्रॉपर्टी भी खा ली, आपने उनको ह्यूमिलेट भी किया, आपने 15-15, 20-20, 30-30 साल से भी जो अफगान पाकिस्तान में रह रहा था या जिसका बच्चा पाकिस्तान में पैदा हुआ था, उसका आपने मकान भी ले लिया, ठीक है, उसका आपने बिजनेस भी खा लिया, सारी जिंदगी उसने लगाई मकान बनाने में, बिजनेस खड़ा करने में. आपने उसको एंड में बोला क्या, ठीक है तुमसे 50,000 PKR लेकर जा सकते हो, उसके ऊपर तुम कुछ भी ले जा सकते. So that pride which they have hit on the Afghans, I think that is something which is very difficult to repair. Now, today there was a talk of them talking about, oh, we will hit Afghanistan through trade. And now their trade minister is going on Wednesday. They have a meeting with Taliban leaders. क्योंकि बॉर्डर बंद हो जाता है, जो ही कुछ होता है बॉर्डर बंद हो जाता है. बट व्हाट पाकिस्तान इज नॉट रियलाइजिंग इज कि पाकिस्तान ना अभी भी 30 साल पीछे जी रहा है. उनको ये लगता है कि अफगान्स आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन पाकिस्तान, द अफगानीज वांट पाकिस्तान. आज की डेट में पाकिस्तान नीड्स अफगानिस्तान मच मोर देन अफगानिस्तान नीड्स पाकिस्तान. They will stop the trade route. India will do it from Chabar port. Iranians are okay with it. They are on board. Afghans are on board. अफगानियों को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने.
We are on board.
We are completely on board.
हमने ही कराया वो तो पूरा गेम. हमने
करवाया और उनको, एंड अफगान्स आर वेरी हैप्पी विद इट. उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, वो पाकिस्तान का बॉर्डर बंद कर देंगे, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. बट अगर
तभी द ब्रेजननेस ऑफ द अटैक केम बैक. जो जबरदस्त, आई मीन हेवी अटैक दिस टाइम.
They have tried, and look at the Pakistanis. They have tried to show Afghans that we have equal capability of hitting you guys. The blast in Kandahar yesterday by the ISKP guy, in which about 21 odd died and 60 odd are injured, right? Then there was another one also. So what they are trying to tell Afghanis is that if these guys do something in Pakistan, we are equally capable of hitting you. What they are not realizing is कि आपके पास सिर्फ एक ISKP है जिसको आप ओवर यूज या यूज कर सकते हो अफगानिस्तान में. उसके भी जो ऑपरेशनल टेंटिकल्स हैं वो बहुत छोटे हैं, वो इतने बड़े नहीं. On the contrary, the Afghanis have so much of invested jihadis who have interest more with Taliban than with Pakistan sitting in Pakistan. Ki if they get activated, then what the Pakistanis will do?
Yeah.
So the risk factor for the Pakistanis on escalation ladder is much higher than for the Afghanis to take it up. The Afghans will be, okay, fine, you did 1, we will do 10. You can do 10, we can do 100. Let's play the game. You might have 20 guys at your disposal. We have 200 guys at our disposal sitting in Pakistan. The day they said they hit the TTP leader in Afghanistan on the border in Paktia, that guy was sitting in Pakistan. उसने पाकिस्तान से बयान दे दिया.
बैंड बजाएंगे ये तो.
So how does it help Pakistan? I don't know what is going on in Pakistan. What is the military thinking? Have they lost their plot? They completely lost their plot. Basically हुआ क्या ना, पाकिस्तान में they're incompetent now. जो भी आप देखो, जर्नल्स उठा के देखो, राशिद रहील को देखो, ठीक है, हाईली इनकॉम्पिटेंट जर्नल. यमन में जाके उसकी बैंड बच गई, सऊदीज ने उसको उठा के निकाला. He couldn't prove himself. जनरल बाजवा मेकिंग मनी कनाडा में उसने दुनिया का पैसा कमाया मेकिंग मनी. Now this guy has come in, the only qualification he has, he is a हाफिज कुरान. यार हाफिज कुरान है तो उसको किसी मस्जिद में बिठाओ ना, तुमने उसको आर्मी का चीफ क्यों बनाया?
मेरे को ये बताओ, I mean, just as a side note, बाजवा will always be remembered जैसे एक जो जनरल जिसको हमेशा याद रखा जाएगा, जिसने बोलते ना कश्मीर घुमा दिया.
अच्छा, जो इनके असली जर्नल है उनको आप देखो उनका क्या हाल किया. दे हैड दिस स्मार्ट जर्नल कॉल्ड जर्नल फैज अमीन, जिसने सारी प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट की. ठीक है, फैज हमीद के भाई को उठा के ले गए, उसको अरेस्ट किया इन्होंने, दिखाया कि अरेस्ट किया. डू यू नो द जज हैड टू अपोलोजाइज टू फैज हमीद एंड immediately write a bail bond and say that he has been released on bail. He was released immediately. So why is Pakistani establishment taking panga which it cannot control, whether it is within the Pakistani establishment or it is outside Pakistani establishment?
वाह, ओके. तो अभी जरा वापस आते हैं बॉर्डर एरिया पे. ये तो आपने एक गेम ही खेल दिया. दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. अब यू नो चाइना जो ये ग्वादर पे हिट हुई है, एंड मैंने मैप देखा है इसका, जो चाइना की बाउंड्री वॉल है, आई मीन ये अगर हिट मारते मारते एक पत्थर मार देते तो बाउंड्री वॉल पे जाके लगती है. यस, ठीक है. चाइनीज की तो फटी होगी वहां पर, एंड इट्स वाज अ ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ फायर इन दैट एरिया. आई मीन वो वीडियोस निकले वहां से, मैं देख के परेशान हो गया. एंड आई आल्सो गॉट सम इधर उधर से. ये क्या है यार? इट वाज, आई मीन, वर्स देन एनी वीडियो आई हैव सीन इन इजराइल और यूक्रेन और समथिंग लाइक दैट. बड़ा जबरदस्त फायरिंग. हाउ डू यू थिंक ये चाइनीज को मैसेज है कि चाइनीज की तरफ अटैक है? व्हाट इज इट? बिकॉज चाइनीज तो मारे नहीं, बट
देखो ना, पाकिस्तान का, यू हैव टू हिट द अंडरबेली इन एनी covert operation. You always hit the underbelly. The Chinese are Pakistani underbelly in Gwadar. ठीक है, because it is all Chinese investment, Chinese money. Pakistan wanted to raise 2 divisions for just to protect CPEC and all that nonsense bullshit जो उन्होंने उनको बोला था और किया भी उन्होंने वो. They couldn't protect it. But मुझे ये लग रहा है of late, if you look at China, I think they are reconsidering their options. One in Pakistan vis-a-vis CPEC. Second, I think they will be looking at BRI all over again. I don't think Chinese are now interested in what they really wanted or what they really thought कि region में होगा क्या. They have also realized that, you know, investing in Pakistan is putting money in deep pit, black pit. कुछ नहीं निकलना वहां से. So मुझे नहीं लगता, you know, Chinese are also wait and watch game खेल रहे हैं. They are also waiting and watching. They are not investing any money. ठीक है. अच्छा, they were building that township for their people of 25,000 families ग्वादर के पास में. वो भी उन्होंने हॉल्ट कर दिया है.
ब्रियर फैक्ट्री लगाई थी, वो बंद कर दी.
वो बंद कर दी. सो these are the signals where Chinese are rethinking vis-a-vis Pakistan or their investments vis-a-vis Pakistan.
But
अब आप देखो, Gwadar basically was not supposed to be a commercial hub, a commercial port. Gwadar always, the Chinese Navy wanted to exert its pressure in that area. But अगर उसको उधर ग्वादर तक आना भी, उसको कहाँ से घूम कर आना है, राइट? दूसरा उसमें ये है कि जब से ताइवान पे अप हुआ है, जीपिंग ने जब से ताइवान पे प्रेशर बहुत बनाया है, आई थिंक द फोकस इज मोर ऑन द साउथ चाइना सी रादर देन ऑन दिस साइड. सो मुझे लगता है कि वो चाइनीज गेम जो है, चाइनी पाकी भाई भाई जो ये आपस में बड़े आयरन ब्रदर्स बनते फिरते हैं, आई थिंक देयर इज अ क्रैक समवेयर. दैट आयरन इज क्रैकिंग, दैट आयरन इज गिविंग अप. देयर इज एन alloy crack somewhere. The Chinese will be very, very closely reassessing their position. They are keeping a good working relation with Taliban. उनको पाकिस्तान की उसमें जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है, they have managed to do the most difficult part.
खींचेंगे.
हाँ, वही मैं कह रहा हूँ ना, मतलब the most difficult part था जो उनको पाकिस्तान ने वो एक स्मोक स्क्रीन दिखाई थी कि हमारे बाद आप तालिबान के बगैर, तालिबान से हमारे बगैर बात ही नहीं होगी. They are able to take that smoke screen out. They have been able to share with Afghans. The Afghans go to China. They are doing some trade also. So the Chinese have that लीवाई ऑन देयर, अच्छा एटीएम को वो पैसा देकर बंद करके बैठे हुए हैं. So I think the Chinese are playing the wait and watch game.
करेक्ट 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 करेक्ट.
And Chinese
क्योंकि
are
देख,
also very wary of this ISKP threat.
हाँ, ISKP,
Because
TIM, TEP, जो भी है.
see, Adi, anything, even a common sense will tell you if the good Taliban जो आपने बनाया था versus the bad Taliban, if that is coming to coming back to bite you with this kind of a force, what will ISKP do to you? Do you know what ISKP is? The whole world knows what ISKP is. If you raise ISKP in your land and you think that they will take over Afghanistan and then they will be your puppets, I don't know how delusional you can be. I mean, Pakistanis then are some really delusional drugs kar rahe hain. They're doing some mushrooms and all for them to think this way. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what a delusional person will do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So it's I mean, I'm amazed at the way Pakistanis are responding to everything which is happening in their land. The Iranians came, hit them, they went and hit them back. The Afghanis came, they went and hit them back. What are they trying to do for themselves? They're trying to create problems for themselves. And for how long Pakistan is going to last with that kind of a game? अभी IMF का लोन का फिर पंगा पड़ना है, वो $4.4 बिलियन का फिर आना है. 2 महीने 3 महीने वो लेट हो गया, आटा नहीं मिलना पाकिस्तान में. उस सूरत में अगर अफगानिस्तानियों ने सुसाइड बॉम्बर छोड़ दिए, व्हाट विल दे डू? कौन से जहाज उड़ाएंगे? So something is really wrong with Pakistani policy. The Pakistani national policy, something is extremely wrong with that nation. I think that nation is gone for a toss. It's a quasi nation. It's not even a nation. I don't call it a nation.
नहीं वो तो मैं मानते नहीं. I never. I mean, all the
I don't
guys.
call it a nation. It's a quasi nation run by the military for their own benefit.
It's a space, you know.
It's an empty space.
Let's talk time and space. It's a space in nature somewhere. You know that.
But
You can only explain it to that.
Space. It's a very messy space which keeps on troubling everybody around it. It's not a peaceful place. It's a very messy place. So that is the problem. This mess is a problem.
Indeed. I want to now take you to another very interesting sort of a scenario. ये जो build होगा अभी आगे, इन लोगों ने 8-10 आदि सॉरी ये जो पोस्ट तो ले रखे हैं, ठीक है, and there is radio silence after that. Even the Taliban is not talking. TTP नहीं बोल रहा कुछ भी, बस वही पुराने वीडियोस अभी पोस्ट हो रहे हैं, ठीक है.
वो बोलेंगे भी नहीं, इसके स्ट्रेटेजिक एडवांटेज वो कभी नहीं बोलते. They never say anything.
ये वापस जाएंगे कि ये पोस्ट अप हो गए इनके?
I don't think so ये वापस जाएंगे. मुझे नहीं लगता ये वापस जाएंगे. And Pakistan doesn't have the will to take them out of their land. Last time they gave a demonstration ना, जब वो 600 आ गए थे अंदर, बुलाना उधर, वो इस बार ही आएंगे और बैठ जाएंगे आके. मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो वापस जाएंगे. They are not there to go back. They're there to stay. They will consolidate. They are going to consolidate. Whatever they take, they will consolidate this year. कुछ नहीं छोड़ेंगे.
Wow.
क्योंकि वो वैसे ही उसको अपना एरिया क्लेम करते हैं, वो तो मानते ही नहीं है कि ये पाकिस्तान का. वो तो उनका मतलब डिस्प्यूट ही उसी पे है. और इंटरनेशनल को भी दिखाने के लिए, अगर इंटरनेशनल वर्ल्ड को दिखाना है, तो दैट इज द बिगेस्ट एक्सक्यूज दे हैव, दैट दिस इज आवर्स, दिस लैंड बिलोंग्स टू अस.
You've raised a couple of points which actually, I mean, they can be discussed separately as a matter of fact, because Pakistani policy क्या है? What is the Pakistani policy of survival? But the problem is, मैंने 1-2 दिन पहले ना कर्नल अजय रैना से बात करी थी about the great game 3.2. ठीक है, and he explained that पूरी history के साथ he connected, and he said that there is a issue in the Pamirs which is historical. So पूरा Pamirs reigns that entire area. Now when you look at जो तालिबान की पोजीशनिंग है, धीरे धीरे करके उनको अंदर आना है. पाकिस्तानी आर्मी वैसे भी वो दैट दे कांट क्रॉस दैट स्वाट लाइन, जाते हैं, ठुकाई होती है, वापस आ जाते हैं. एंड इट्स बीन बैड. आपको हाउ डू यू थिंक दिस इज नाउ गोइंग टू गो फॉरवर्ड? ठीक है, बिकॉज एक जो एरिया है वहां पर बीच में अभी गवर्नर लगा दिया, ये कर दिया, वो कर दिया, ऑल दैट इज देयर. पेशावर में गवर्नमेंट बैठी है. ये कनेक्ट दिस फॉर अस विद पॉलिटिक्स एंड दिस सिचुएशन. क्या ये मर्ज होंगी कि ये इट्स जस्ट गोना फ्लाई ऑफ, स्पेशली केपी पॉलिटिक्स?
It's not going to fly off. See, the KP politics is very, very simple. KP culturally, politically are more aligned towards Taliban than they are towards Pakistan. And that has been a fact for last 20-25 years, right? Even when the Americans were there, KP was out of bounds. KP में इन्होंने raids भी किए, ज़रबे अर्ब भी किया, काफी कुछ किया. But KP जो है, it sees itself as a part of Afghanistan. One. Two. The whole point of KP is either to become something like an autonomous region, which will be largely controlled by Afghanistan and loosely have a border with Pakistan, and the Pakistanis will have a free movement. Or if that doesn't happen, it then completely merged towards the Afghan side. If you remember last time, I also told you there was a meeting between the KP ke CM or ISKA on the political differences, let's remove it. That is what precisely their political difference was. So KP, as far as the Pakistanis are concerned, politics of Pakistan is concerned, KP is something they don't touch. The only man who was able to make inroads in KP and find some resonance with the people was Imran Khan. Let's be very honest about it. True. And KP has been very loyal to Imran this time as well. Right? Maulana tried to play his game there. They gave him a threat, told him, we'll kill you. His convoys were attacked. His jalsas were attacked. So, it was very clear that anybody entering from the Pakistani side, from the Pakistani political spectrum, is not allowed. Anybody who was seen as somebody who was in PTI or was trying to double cross Imran Khan was also not welcome.
ये connection बताओ मेरे को. Imran Khan कितना, I mean, see, the people used to call him Taliban Khan. Fair enough. How deep is that Taliban?
It is very deep. See, the Pashtun pride is very high. The Pathan pride is very high. Imran is a Pathan, comes from that background. And he has exactly... Why did Imran change his loyalty from Saudi to Turkey? Let me explain it this way. What happened that Imran had to ally with Iran and Turkey more and give up the Saudis and piss them off? So they asked for the money overnight and he had to beg the Chinese for it. The idea was the Khalifa movement, which Erdogan was thinking in his head of reviving the Ottoman Empire and becoming a Khalifa of the Muslim world. Imran resonates with that kind of a thought. That is exactly what Taliban resonates with. This is what the Muslim Brotherhood, by and large, all over the globe, whether they are sitting in Palestine, whether they are sitting in America, in Britain, in, anywhere around the world, this is what they aspire to be. A Khalifa thing, a world ruled by Khalif. And all these people fit there ideologically, they all fit there. ISIS couldn't survive because ISIS had a problem. They were not in control, but they just occupied territories. ISIS never thought it through. That is why ISIS could not survive. That is the difference that is why there were differences between Baghdadi and Zawahiri, and before that, Osama bin Laden as well. Laden's policy was drive all the foreigners out, then take control. What they have done in Afghanistan. Driven the Americans out and then taken proper control. Baghdadi was more, no, whatever we fight, we gather. Now that is not sustainable. But this is sustainable. They fight 20 years, 25 years, bog you down, throw you out, and establish control. Pakistan, Imran was talking about Medina, Riyasat-e-Medina. And that resonates with the Pakistanis, that resonates with the KPK. Who is protesting the most in America on Imran's arrest? It is the Muslim Brotherhood lobby. It was Ilhan Omar who was making a lot of noise about it.
Wow.
Same Muslim Brotherhood, which is now being also backed by the Iranians in Palestine.
So Imran Khan is not
Hamas
a joke.
basically came out of Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is a military wing of Muslim Brotherhood. PLO was seen as corrupt, so Hamas became the de facto military wing. when they, till 2018 Hamas ke charter mein tha ki we are a part of Muslim Brotherhood, then they removed it because they knew it will create problems. So this is not a regional specific thing anybody is facing. This is a bigger picture. This is a global picture. So when we talk about the Great Game 3.0, I think this is a very, very important thing which needs to be fit in that 3.0, great game, because this is a great game being played very deliberately and very cautiously without people realizing.
Imran Khan is not just a joke, huh? Brotherhood
Imran
means...
Khan is not a joke. Imran Khan is not a joker. Imran Khan might be a joker in a political cards, but he is definitely not a joke, and you cannot take him lightly. What stopped Pakistani army from one giving him इसको अभी तक इन्होंने मारा क्यों नहीं? ठीक है, बाहर निकाल के क्यों नहीं मारा? कंट्री से बाहर क्यों नहीं भेज दिया? या इलेक्शन के बाद इमीडिएटली इसकी बेल्स क्यों करा दी? They know the kind of clout he holds from one part of the world. And Qataris were also supporting Imran. The Qataris also want Imran because Qataris are the part of this.
Yeah, Qataris तो पूरा, I mean, वो गड़ी है, वो तो फाइनेंसर, चीफ फाइनेंसिंग ऑफिसर ब्रदरहुड.
सीईओ आज की डेट, सीएफओ जो हैं वो कतरी से आज की डेट, राइट? तभी उस दिन सलमान बिन सऊद was forced to say कि ये जो आइडियोलॉजी है इसको हम जड़ से उखाड़ के फेंकें, because he realizes how dangerous it is for the UAE and for other Muslim countries which don't, which have stopped or not playing the same game what they started the game. This game was started by the Saudis. It's being carried over by the Turkish and the Qataris, along with the Iranians and the Pakistanis. So that is why, that Imran doctrine, Imran का वो जो doctrine था उसमें फैज हमीद fit होता है. That is why they did deal with TTP. इन्होंने TTP को mainstream करने की कोशिश की, because the idea was कि they will give some soft pseudo autonomy to KPK and TTP will run it. अब TTP में आप देखो ना, KPK में कई areas, large of the areas are under Sharia law. Either under Jikra law or the Sharia law. वहाँ पाकिस्तानी law apply नहीं करता. So Pakistanis are now trapped in their own game. They were the lackeys of the Saudis in the 79s. They thought they will become the aces, but jokers never become aces. Jokers always remain jokers.
I think they took all this too lightly, right? कि ये groups हैं, खेल लेंगे, हम देख लेंगे इनको.
It tells you about the lack of vision of the country, the way they are growing up, the way their leadership is growing up. It exactly tells you how rotten the system in the country is. It tells you how regressive the country is. That they are not able to see, they are not able to, forecast what is going to happen, what is going to change in the world in the next 30 years.
Damn.
It's like a happy living. Every day I'm getting my money, I'm making a money every day, and I'm a daily wager and I'm happy every day is going to be same. No, they have not realized it. And they are trapped in their own game. They don't know how to come out of it. I was having a discussion, I think last year. Yeah, it was last year with somebody. And I said, I told them about ISKP and they said, yeah, we don't think it is going to happen. I said, Pakistan only knows one game. They will play this game. It will destroy them. It will burn them. And this is the only game they play. And it is happening this. So Pakis don't know anything else.
Yeah, proxy बनाएंगे ये लोग बेवकूफों की तरह. And the worst part, see, the one thing they get wrong about proxies is that proxies are made outside your country, not inside your country.
Absolutely. They were the proxies. Basically, Pakistanis were the proxies for the others, for the Saudis and for the Americans.
Yeah, but
and
you were outside.
How happy they become. Americans throw some dollars and they're so happy that we are so important, right?
Yeah.
They don't realize what they're doing to themselves.
Yeah.
It's like giving that drug money to a druggie to say inject more cocaine so you can destroy yourself more. So the Americans throw the dollars, they inject their own radicalization, their own cocaine, and they think they are the king of the. The Pakistani state is behaving like a drug addict and thinks like a drug addict too. In this context.
It's crazy that, the last part kind of flipped the entire game as far as excuse me, as far as the discussion was concerned, I think this last part is very, very important. क्योंकि जो larger game है brotherhood की, that तो of course we can see it, आपको दिख रही है जो हो रहा है गाजा इसराइल में, and जो हो रहा है आपका
Everywhere.
लेबनान.
You can see it everywhere. Everywhere in the world, you can see that game being played.
Yeah. And जो
Anybody who
pro
closes that eye is, I think, is bereft of reality or is just trying to avoid it or don't want to accept it.
और दूसरा जो pro Palestine protest होते हैं, I mean, it's
Proven.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, sorry, actually, I should not say pro-Palestine protest, because those guys are not pro-Palestine anymore. They're pro-Hamas
They are
protest.
pro-Hamas.
Yeah, and openly. So
The
Hamas की
problem
जय
is
जयकार
that they have labeled every Palestinian as a pro-Hamas guy, which is not the case.
You see street interviews from there, they're not happy. As a matter of fact, काफी लोग तो street interview में बोलते हैं कि साहब, we are happy that the Israelis are here. At least there's some peace.
I remember the first interview was of not a very old lady. She must be in her 50s or 60s. And she was screaming because the aid was taken by the Hamas. She had nothing to eat. She screamed. They shot her dead. Next day, they found a dead body.
Yeah.
Then there was another guy. They're equally brutal, equally regressive.
Oh yeah. I mean,
अच्छा, अब आप ये देखो ना, अल-कायदा कहाँ से आया? He was also a part of Muslim Brotherhood. Baghdadi was also at one point of time an ardent follower of Muslim Brotherhood. So when they see that it's a slow change, they want to bring a faster change, they go into extremism and they become terror organizations.
You know, let me just take another 2 minutes. Okay, we'll just छोटा सा आंसर आपसे मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा. I've seen people tweeting from Pakistan कि यार सऊदी अरेबिया से पैसे आ रहे हैं, आसिम मुनीर साहब गए हैं तो कुछ आ जाएगा, राइट? IMF से पैसे आ रहे हैं, वो IMF से पैसे आ गए, and it's a celebrity. And आपको you're celebrating भीख कि भाई मेरे को भीख मिल गई, बल्ले बल्ले. What does that tell you about their thought process for their prospects? तो कोई भी जो आएगा उसका काम यही है कि तू अच्छे से जहाज में बैठ के तेरे को भेजेंगे, तू जाके भीख बुक मांग के आना.
तो वही तो हुआ भी. इनके वो पकड़े भी तो भिखारी जो उनको उतार दिया था जहाज से, ये तो भीख मांगने जाते हैं एज प्रोफेशन आल्सो.
जहाज के अंदर भीख मांग रहा था. Can you imagine?
They were literally sending them to Saudi, and the Saudis stopped that airplane and deboarded all those people because they were beggars. The Pakistanis are known as beggars all across the world.
There was one guy asking for money in a flight. उसका भी वीडियो है.
उसका भी वीडियो, मैं वही तो कह रहा हूँ, जहाज में भी पैसे मांगते हैं, वहां पहुंच के भी पैसे मांगते हैं. The whole Pakistan nation has become a nation of beggars. The mentality of the nation is that of begging. The capability of the nation is finished. The mentality is of begging, on an individual level or on an institutional level. सऊदी पैसा देगा फिर क्या करेगा? मतलब क्या पाकिस्तानी किस चीज की खुशी मनाते हैं? क्या उनके घर बन जाएंगे? कुछ नहीं मिलना.
करेक्ट,
राइट. चाइनीज पैसे दे देंगे, अमेरिकन पैसे दे देंगे. आपने कभी किसी पाकिस्तानी से सुना है कि वो खुद कैसे पैसे कमाएगा और अपनी कंट्री को बड़ा करेगा? Has any politician ever in Pakistan said what is his financial plan for Pakistan for next 10 years? The only thing they say is, let this leader come, he will get money from Saudi, he will get money from America, he will get money from China. So basically they're electing a beggar in chief for themselves. That's on a lighter note. But that holds true for a Pakistani politician. And now the journal has become such. Now the journal comes and they say, what is journal going to do? He's going to get money from Saudi. So he's a journal in chief, he's a beggar in chief.
भिकारिस्तान का भिखारी in chief.
भिखारी in chief.
Well, that's very interesting, I must say. Beggar in chief. A lot of people are appreciating that. This is beggar in chief is good. नहीं अभी तो आर्मी का कुछ थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट बनाना पड़ेगा यार. आर्मी है यार, थोड़ा डेजिग्नेशन डिफरेंट, लेफ्टिनेंट beggar in chief, whatever, I don't know. But very interesting, very very interesting, because especially इनका mindset खराब हो गया. That's true. Let's get into some questions, guys. आप जरा I can't get over beggar in chief. Beggaristan. Okay, so that's another one which has come. Beggaristan, beggar in chief, and
Beggar in command.
Yeah. So, guys, let's get into the questions. Please like करिए वीडियो को, सब्सक्राइब करिए चैनल को. Most importantly, spread the word about Dev Talks. आज दोपहर में भी हमने पन्नू के ऊपर एक छोटा सा अपडेट करा है. Don't forget to watch that, and of course share these videos with your friends and family. Dangerous times ahead. भारत का neighborhood is not going to be peaceful. That's something that we know. चारों तरफ से कुछ ना कुछ उल्टे काम होते रहते हैं, and we need to kind of keep a track of क्या हो रहा है. So on that note, guys, please like, subscribe and spread the word. आप लोग इस चैनल की तरफ कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं यूजिंग द QR कोड या फिर पेपैल जो डिस्क्रिप्शन में है फॉर दोज ऑफ यू हु वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट डायरेक्टली. अदरवाइज आप लोग मेंबरशिप यूज कर सकते हैं या फिर सुपर स्टिकर्स और सुपर चैट्स यूज कर सकते हैं. एंड प्लीज 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 मैं सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, वीडियो के कमेंट्स में लीव एनी कमेंट दैट यू लाइक. इट रियली हेल्प्स द एल्गोरिदम. ठीक है, आजकल यूट्यूब ने इंडिया को थोड़ा सा उसका आग कम कर रखा है. So please just do that so that you can help us, especially this channel, grow. Right? So sabse pehle, let's go. Naruto Uzumaki, thank you so much. He says interesting session. So
Thank you.
that's a compliment for you. Uske baad Batra ji says Aadi ji, Khwaja Asif has said Pakistan doesn't want war with Afghanistan.
The Khwaja Asif can say anything he wants to say, but what the fighter jets were doing, showering rose petals in Afghanistan. Pakia mein jo unhone strike kiya wo kya tha? Your words have to match your actions. The problem with Pakistani politicians is it never matches their actions. What Pakistani actions are, politicians have very different words for it. So it doesn't matter even 2 cents what he says. What is happening on the ground is that Pakistan is in deep trouble with Afghanistan.
I mean, if there was a deeper hole they could dig themselves into.
They're just digging that hole thinking that they will come out of this hole. The problem is, Adi, there is a saying in English, at the end of a tunnel, there is always light. The Pakistanis have mistaken a hole as a tunnel. They think they will dig a hole and it will become a tunnel and light will come out. That's the problem with the Pakistanis.
आप ना बड़े मूड में हो आज. सही में बता रहा हूँ. ये मुहावरे जबरदस्त निकल रहे हैं. वैसे मैं बोलूं, कुछ किसी पाकिस्तानी ने कोई मेल मोल लिख दी क्या आपको?
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं. Nothing of that. I mean, I hope wakes up few thinking Pakistanis of what is happening, because I know there are a lot of Pakistanis who watch our channel, watch us. So maybe somebody will think something and some change will happen, some good will happen to them. So that's why.
नहीं मैं आपको सही में बोलूं, they've written mails to me.
Oh, nice.
कि साहब देखो, आप मस्ती मजाक करते हो, ठीक है, but your मस्ती मजाक is not just मस्ती मजाक. There is a lot of value to what you guys are saying. तो ये लोग they do mail. I've got almost, if I may say, in the past 1.5 years, about 20-30 mails.
Oh, nice.
ठीक है, कमेंट्स में भी बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो बोलते हैं, सर, एज अ पाकिस्तानी व्हाट यू सेइंग इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. आई मीन, दे लिटरली जस्ट राइट दैट. एंड बहुत हो चुका है. इट्स नॉट समथिंग व्हिच इज देयर. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज, हमारे अंदर एक रिजर्वेशन है, मेरे अंदर तो स्पेशली ये रिजर्वेशन है. आई कांट ट्रस्ट. मैं नहीं कर सकता. आई कांट. आई डोंट हैव दैट. मेरे पास वो, आई थिंक गॉड डिडंट गिव मी दैट बोन टू ट्रस्ट देम.
No, you can't trust them. No, but there are always two good people around.
I'm sure they are. I am 100% sure they are. I am 100% sure they are. Yeah. And see, that's the whole thing. Because ये लोग इतना what all they've done. How can you?
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I completely.
Rajesh ji कहते हैं, is Taliban sharing its military assets and ammunition with the BLA, and what other support is it giving?
See, the Taliban through TTP is. So if you look at the attacks which happened on the Pakistani security installations in Balochistan and the kind of weapons they have used, there is a lot of American weapons which the BLA is now using. In fact, those night scopes and all that. So that all weaponry is basically NATO weaponry which the Americans left behind in Afghanistan, and that has reached TTP, and TTP is then giving it, or TTP is providing it, or TTP is a part of that attack. They are using that. So yes, the Taliban is using the American NATO weaponry, which the Americans gifted them very nicely when they left, and they're making full use of it against Pakistan.
Correct. And I mean, may I add that I don't think the Taliban will be too averse कि भाई नहीं 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 तुम ये नहीं लो, तुम वो मत लो, तुम ये नहीं. उनका एक मेन रिजर्व तो रखा होगा उन्होंने, बट
वो तो बिल्कुल नहीं.
बाकी तो ओपन ओपन होगा. और
They
मेरे को पता
have
चला
enough for 10 years. The
साहब
amount
they've
of
got
ammunition
million
Americans have left is 10 years. Small arm fire, that's
120,000
not
vehicles.
Huh?
120,000 vehicles.
120,000 vehicles, 700,000 weapons, small arm fire weapon, guns, ये कौन सी M1 carbines, then pistols alag, then grenades alag. So it's a complete. They gave enough stock for Afghans to take care of Pakistan.
Can you
वो
imagine?
उनको देकर गए, 10 साल का पैकेज देकर गए.
Anti-SWLA, thank you so much. He says, good takeaway, beggar in command, add in comment.
Definitely, sir, we will do that.
Jays says, Pakistan's diplomat Amir Zubair Siddiqui, responsible for sowing seeds of radicalization in Sri Lanka, was kicked out.
See, the problem with Pakistanis is it's not about, he's not responsible. Most of the Pakistani people are radicalized by default. Their education system, their cultural system is such that they are automatically radicalized. Whether it is their foreign service, whether it is their military, whether it is their police, whether it is their bureaucracy, there is a level of radicalization in Pakistan which is beyond repair. There is always that percentage which is beyond repair, and that is why he would have been kicked out, because the Sri Lankans realized very late what radicalization can do in terms of national security, especially after the ISIS bombings in Sri Lanka, which happened in Colombo. The Sri Lankans woke up to that reality. At that time, they were also they were not sure how this works, but now they have got a grip of it. They are very, very aware of things, what is happening in their region, and they don't want to fall to that trap again. The Pakistanis are playing a different game there again. They're playing the LTT game there.
Game in the game in the game in the game in the game. I mean, crazy. Unknown gunman. Sorry, please.
No, go ahead, sir. Washing powder.
Wait, sorry. Too many clicks at the same time does that.
That's okay.
Unknown gunman 007 says, sir, washing powder के साथ कटोरियों स्थानों की धुलाई करते हैं, इसलिए उनके हाथ इतने गोरे हैं.
That's a good joke. You have to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to take this. Hemalata Patel ji, thank you so much for watching the channel. Please do share it with your friends as well. Gwadar is more significant for the Baloch, thereafter the Afghans, rather than the Pakistanis.
See, the Pakistanis don't have the capacity to look at Gwadar. They are thinking of putting their Lahore port and giving it out to somebody so that they can get money. They are talking to Saudis on this. कि आप ले लो, वो तो बेचने पे आ गए लाहौर पोर्ट को, तो ग्वादर पे तो उनकी औकात ही नहीं. So yes, it is very important for Baloch. It is very important for Afghans. At one point of time, it was something the Chinese were salivating about, but Chinese have realized it's a gone cause. It's a near gone cause. So Chinese are waiting when will this disintegrate, we'll deal with Baloch and we'll run our port very nicely and very quietly. They'll be much happier and the Baloch will let them come in because they'll pay and there will not be any trouble. The Pakistanis are trouble all around.
That's, I mean, quite incisive actually. Raja sir, how would you counter the Afghan narrative that they're including POK and GB in their map? Do they want to run Afghanistan-Pakistan war in Bharat land? Who's behind this? Why? What is the agenda? Very interesting question.
Yes. Okay, I'll tell you this Afghanistan map which they talk about. Adi, if you remember Colonel Akbar, which became General Akbar, the one who was responsible for the Kashmir doctrine, right? जो tribal rates का जो head था, the man who started that tribal rate, who envisioned that thing and brought it about.
पेपर लिखा था उसने.
Yes. उस अब आप देखो पाकिस्तानी कितने प्रेडिक्टेबल है. उस आदमी ने जो मैप बनाया था वो उसने वो करगिल वॉर भी उसमें डाला था कि हम करगिल तक आएंगे, फिर करगिल से इसको काटेंगे और करगिल में लेंगे, राइट. सो ये जो अफगान मैप आप बोल रहे हो ना, पीओके और गिलगित बल्तिस्तान वाला, इसमें कहीं ना कहीं जो पाकिस्तानी ड्राइंग्स हैं वो भी आपको मिलेंगी. तो इसमें ओवरलैपिंग है. नाउ व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट गिलगित बल्तिस्तान, यू हैव टू सी द रियलिटी. सी, I said this, I don't know, here or somewhere else the other day also, that Afghans are very, very clear with the realities of what is happening in their region. Gilgit-Baltistan is more prone to fall to the Chinese than to the Afghans. And Afghans are not going all guns blazing out, taking GB onto their thing. The Afghan thing is very simple. The Taliban thing is very simple. Take the political power in Pakistan. That is how you take over Pakistan. They have started making shadow governors, right? You will see mullahs coming into power. You will see mullahs winning election. Pakistan, if they come into political power in Pakistan, then they are holding GB as well. Then GB becomes their part. Then they deal with China that they want to deal with China. They're not as sold out as the Pakistanis are right now. So the game plan is very, very different. So whatever maps they are showing you, they are there for their references, but that doesn't mean that literally this is what Afghan Taliban wants to happen or is itching to happen in the next 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. These are long games played over decades, even a century, a quarter of a century, a half of a century away. So this is how this is played, and this is how they will be looking at it. It depends how Pakistan falls to them, when Pakistan falls to them politically, in power. Whether it falls to them or it disintegrates is another question which we have a doubt right now. It looks more like it's going to disintegrate than fall, but then again, some part of it will fall to them as well. So based on that, how they deal with their GB and how they deal with POK will be a separate thing at that point of time. Also, secondly, what our relationship where we will be standing is also a big question mark there.
Correct.
The Chinese have been drawing all the maps. The Pakistanis have been drawing all the maps, but Pakistan is shrinking in size, right? So the maps doesn't tell you the picture. The growth of the country does. If India talks about taking POK today, it is in a better position.
You know, this is actually, I would say, मैं add करूँ अगर आपकी बात में, ये this is info warfare towards Pakistan.
Absolutely.
ठीक है. So
this
is not
psychological damage जो इसका पाकिस्तान पे वो बहुत ज़्यादा हम पे नहीं है. They are not talking about Jammu and Kashmir. They are talking about POJ. This is threatening Pakistanis more than us. Yeah. But yes, you have to be careful about this. This is a scenario which could emerge tomorrow.
चित्राल पे तो आ चुके
हैं. Absolutely.
ठीक है. Thought provocator, thank you so much. He says चीमा मुनीर के कटोरे में सऊदी रियाल की झांकर से ही खुश हो जाता है.
See, the Saudis are not giving so much of money to Pakistanis. Saudis are also not ready to do that because Saudis realize ये क्या कर रहे हैं. तो Saudis अगर पाकिस्तानियों को पैसा दे भी रहे हैं ना, बड़ा देख कर दे रहे हैं. आज की डेट में वही तो प्रॉब्लम है. पाकिस्तान का प्रॉब्लम क्यों हुआ? पाकिस्तान को IMF के पास जाना क्यों पड़ा? इमरान था ना एक टाइम पे जिसने बोला था कि मैं तो IMF के सामने जाऊंगा नहीं, भीख नहीं मांगूंगा.
करेक्ट.
फ्रॉम दैट एटीट्यूड की अब तो लेट के सामने की मालिक कुछ दे दो प्लीज, हमको बचा लो, वो नौबत क्यों आई है? वो इसीलिए आई है ना क्योंकि the money Saudi was pumping in उसका रुक गया, Chinese were pumping money वो रुक गया. तो अब जब वो रुक गया तो फिर IMF, फिर अमेरिका जो माई बाप बैठा था, फिर वो ओरिजिनल माई बाप याद आया कि मेरा ग्रैंड डैडी वहां बैठा है, मैंने वहां जाना. It's not going to be easy with Saud bin Salman. It is Pakistan will not find it easy to get money from Saudi. Not happening.
तभी चीफ को भेजा है.
हाँ, तभी तो चीफ है.
Dipankar says, what is common Afghani perspective about the Chinese?
See, the common Afghani perspective about the Chinese is not hostile, but they are very wary of what has happened in Uyghur. जो Uyghur Muslims के साथ हुआ है, that is something the Afghans hold very close. But at the same time, Afghans don't have very bad experiences with Chinese at all. because Chinese have not tried to meddle into their affairs. Chinese have not tried to play double games with them. The Chinese, on the contrary, have tried to help them out. So Chinese ke liye he is not hostile. He has somewhat the same kind of, I would not say same with Indians. He's much more pally. He looks at India at a much more friendlier country than the Chinese, but he's not hostile to Chinese. He's very hostile to Pakistanis. He's not hostile to Chinese.
Would you agree कि ये लोग they understand क्या game है Chinese का?
See, Afghanis are more, I would say, not only intelligent, but have a better common sense of geopolitics than their Pakistani counterparts. The Afghans know how to sustain themselves in the region and how to grow. The Pakistanis do not.
Saranj says ISKP will soon realize how weak and useless Pakistan is and would rebel against them only.
See, the problem is डूबके को तिनके का सहारा. ISKP तो डूब ही रही थी, right? अगर उसको पाकिस्तान जिंदा नहीं करता, तो दोनों they might even realize now कि पाकिस्तान, but they also realize कि पाकिस्तान is the most बेवकूफ nation जो हमको तगड़ा करेगा, खिलाएगा, पिलाएगा, ऐश कराएगा और जाके हमने उसको एंड में काटना है जैसे तालिबान ने काटा. और ISKP का मुंह बहुत बड़ा है. वो जब काटेगा तो सीधी सारी काटेगा, वो नहीं छोड़ेगा.
Seema ji says, Sir, China wants Pakistan to go to war with India. Pakistan wish to do the same drama with India, but can't do. US wants India and China in the war because it will be more beneficial for them. Your view? Yeah,
see, I don't think China wants to go to war with India, Pakistan with India. I don't see that happening. Chinese, I don't think want Pakistanis to fight India. Because Chinese know if Pakistanis fight India and Chinese doesn't come to help them, then China says goodbye to their Gilgit-Baltistan and POK. So Chinese would not want India to fight Pakistan. Yes, the Americans are very interested for Pakistanis and the Chinese to keep needling India. Not fight India, needle India. So border skirmishes जो आप देखते हो, चाहे वो गलवान में देख रहे हो, चाहे वो आप अरुणाचल साइड पे देखते हो, चाहे वो आप POJ के साइड पे देखते हो, this is what Americans are very happy with, that these three keep fighting among each other. The Americans have a larger interest in that than the Chinese themselves. So ma'am, with humility, I don't agree with your point that the Chinese would be interested in Pakistanis to fight. No, they don't.
Needling, yes. Anand ji कहते हैं, sir, you mentioned on a phone call in the afternoon video. Could you elaborate in the night video? Could you please tell us some more? Thanks for the discussion as well. Yes, I will put up a full detail on that. मैं आपको पूरी details दूंगा. Don't worry about it. ठीक है, वो सब मिलेगा. There is a little bit of a discussion I did in the afternoon. तो उसमें मैंने एक छोटा सा hint छोड़ा था. A lot of people are wondering ये क्या है.
Okay.
So Partha ji says, is Asim Munir going to retire in Azerbaijan or Turkey?
Asim Munir will retire where? That is a good question. Turkey is a good option. This is becoming a new option for Pakistanis. But then Asim Munir can equally go to Saudi or can go to America as well. Depends how Asim Munir is treated in Pakistan in next 3 years. Things are very, very tough for Asim Munir for next 3 years. And I don't think, given political scenario in Pakistan, he'll get any extension. He gets extension, the more extension he gets, the more Pakistan dilutes, more and more. So it doesn't matter where he retires here. Every general either retires in US or retires in England. He can very well go to England or to Turkey. But it doesn't matter, really doesn't matter where he goes. Because at the end of the day, he's going to go with a lot of money like any other general and live a very good life.
Absolutely. Amazing session, Muneeb ji. How will Baloch insurgent and TTP divide the country as they have overlapping territorial claims?
No, they don't. They have. That is why I mentioned that the Quetta issue has been solved between the two. They don't talk about it. They're very clear of what Balochistan is and what the TTP claim regions are, which is the KPK. जो भी overlapping उनका है, that is largely sorted between the two. And right now they are looking at fighting a common enemy, and they know their enemy is weak. Right? Once the enemy gets thrown over and they get their shares, then there could be some monkey fight. But that is for the later stages. For now, on the major issues, they are quite clear on these things. They don't have, any divisions on those things. Minor issues will always be there. The best of the brothers, the best of the friends always have minor issues.
Yeah. Vivek Thakur says, Pakistani be like GK, Arman, तशरीफों से बह गए.
That's a good one.
Neeruchi says, will the PM of Bikaristan also hold additional ministry of Bhik, or will they have another Bikari as the minister of Bhik? Man, they're taking your Bikari in chief becoming, this thing is going to become a trend. I'm telling you this. So, all
Well, it's
courtesy.
good if it becomes a trend. I'll be happy. It's for it. See, the problem is depends where
But
they
it's
are
a serious
begging.
question, actually. It's a serious question because, if you look at it as a very serious this thing, who will they put forward at the front face who will go beg?
It is always the prime minister. See, now the army chief is begging. No, वो अमेरिका भी बैक करने गया, वो सऊदी भी जाता है, वो बैक करने जाता है. सो वंस ही गेट्स कि हाँ कुछ मिलेगा, फिर वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर को भेजता है कि यार उन्होंने कहा हम देंगे, तो जरा जाओ. तो शहबाज शरीफ गया, लास्ट टाइम भी वही होता था. फिर शहबाज शरीफ जाता था, फिर शहबाज शरीफ को लगता था नहीं यार ये मेरी औकात का नहीं मिल रहा है, बड़ा कम ऑफर कर रहे हैं, तो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को भेज देता था कि जाओ तुम लेकर आओ. जो बड़ा हिस्सा है वो यहाँ तो आर्मी चीफ बोलता था इतना मैं ले आया, प्राइम मिनिस्टर बोलता था आ गया. जो छोटे छोटे होते थे वो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर जाके बोलता था ठीक है बड़ी मेहरबानी आपकी. तो रोल ओवर्स जो है वो या तो जनरल करता है या पाकिस्तानी प्राइम मिनिस्टर करता है, और जो अंदर आने वाला होता है उसके लिए उन्होंने वो ही रखा हुआ है. अब IMF की डील आप देखो, वो इसाक डार पे सारी चढ़ाई हुई थी उन्होंने, वो जब हो ही नहीं रही थी, तो अगर फेल हो जाती तो वो सारा उस पे चढ़ जाता फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर पे कि इसी ने हराया, इसकी वजह से.
Daronomics. Correct. And
So the size of the pie matters. Who will go, whether the chief beggar will go or the deputy chief beggar.
And the last one we'll take, a Bharti from the south. He says, Rajasa Taliban is spreading the narrative they own the Indus River, which they won't, which they have from history. Someone is behind them to spread the map. Is there a Mullah ISI behind this? May I just say one thing before you give your answer?
Sure. Please take this.
नहीं आपका मैं इनसाइड लूंगा, बट एक छोटी सी सेइंग है जो अफगान बोलते हैं, मैं हूं इंडस पे, इधर है अफगानिस्तान, उधर है हिंदुस्तान, कहां से आया पाकिस्तान?
Exactly, and this is exactly what I was going to answer. You know,
अरे
on this side, this is where is Pakistan coming in between from. And if a Mullah ISI is doing it, then he's doing Afghanis a favor by saying, "Ki come and take us." Right? So again, this thing is for the Pakistanis and not for the Indians. This is telling the Pakistanis that we are eventually going to take over your land, and it is a part of Afghanistan, and it will be a part of it. So these all, whatever you see are more, ये जो जितना भी है ये पाकिस्तानियों के लिए ज्यादा, हमारे लिए कम है. उनकी साइकी के लिए बहुत ज्यादा है, हमारी साइकी के लिए बहुत कम. So Aadi, it described it really nicely. I don't think I'll add anything.
नहीं, ये तो एक सेइंग है, इनकी सेइंग है. मेरे को ये पता है किसने बताई सर? तिलक देवासर साहब ने.
Nice.
Now when it comes from a person of that stature, right?
He has that knowledge, that stature, that understanding तो
सही बात उनके मुंह से निकलती है ना कि and he said this is what they say. यार इधर पे पाकिस्तान, इधर पे,
if we have to make Indus the line, then where is Pakistan? Then if Afghanis are saying this, then essentially there is no Pakistan.
नहीं वो तो exactly बोलते हैं ना, अटक के बाद आपका है, अटक के बाद आपका है, हमको कुछ नहीं लेने देना उसमें से.
मेरे भी माइंड में वही आया कि अगर अफगानी बात बोल रहे हैं तो फिर इसका मतलब है कि पाकिस्तान तो कहीं है ही बीच में. तो मुल्ला ऐसा अगर कर रहा है,
सडनली मैप शैप निकलने शुरू हो गए हैं, क्योंकि वो क्या है ना, मैप तो मेरे को ऐसा दिखता है कि they're hitting it on the Pakistanis. I don't think they've thought about कि इसका साइड इफेक्ट इंडिया में भी हो सकता है. इनको वो समझ में नहीं आया है.
इनको वो समझ में नहीं आया, और somewhere even our audience thinks that it is directed towards us. They are not able to understand this, or everything is directed towards the Pakistanis and to humiliate the Pakistanis.
Yeah.
It has got nothing to do with us directly. They're very cautious with us. They're very, very cautious with us.
That's true. Fantastic. Sarji, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I mean, this was a very, very, although, we keep talking about Pakistan, but I must say, it's like an onion. Layer after layer.
It has layer after layer, sir.
And मैं सही में बोलूं, अभी तक I don't think we've even scratched 2-3 layers of it.
No, I don't think so either. It's very difficult.
क्योंकि ISI की बातें, what all ISI, this and that people have spoken or people have done, we have no idea, right? So if someday that book opens up, podcast after
if
podcast will come out.
if there is an onion jalebi anywhere in the world, it is Pakistan. Twisted like a jalebi and layers like onion.
On that note, sir, thank you so much. And आपसे always it's a pleasure talking to you, and we shall
Pleasure.
catch up with you the next time for an interesting discussion like this. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thanks, Thank you.